What's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of The Sharp Reality. I'm your man, Donovan Sharp. Follow me on Twitter at Donovan_Sharp. Visit my website, thesharpreality.com, to listen to all episodes of TSR, which are also available on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Go to the Contact tab if you have questions, comments, hate mail, show ideas, or personal stories you'd like to share. And if you want to support the show, bookmark the Amazon link in the sidebar of my homepage and do all your Amazon shopping through that link, and you'll help keep us on the air at zero cost to you. Today's episode, I'm going to talk about the reasons certain parents discourage their children from dating outside of their race. Now, who are we kidding? There are many interracial relationships around the world and around the country, but the interracial relationships that get the most attention are between black dudes and white girls. Yes, if a black woman happens to be with a white man, we might take a look at that. But the relationships that are the most polarizing, the ones that draw the most ire from black people and white people, are relationships between black males and white females. Now, I'm gonna attack this from, and I'm not white, and I wasn't raised by white people, but I feel like because I've dated white girls for so long, I can offer a little bit of perspective in terms of what I think encourages white parents to discourage their white daughters from dating black men. So I'll start with this. When I was in high school, I had a high school sweetheart. And she was a white girl. She was a pretty white girl. We were both very young. We're both in high school. And of course, it was the typical, my father doesn't like you because you're black and this and that and the other. Well, on the flip side, my mother didn't like it either. So my high school sweetheart was catching heat from her father, and I was catching heat from my mother. But notice that anytime, and this isn't always the case, but anytime there are a set of parents involved in these kinds of relationships, in other words, white parents and black parents, notice that it's always the parent of the opposite sex who seem to have a problem with it. White fathers seem to have the biggest problem with their white daughters dating black men or black boys. Now, the white mother, she might back him up, but she'll never bring it up. They very rarely bring it. She'll very rarely bring her daughter to the side and say, hey, why are you dating this black guy? It's almost, if there's a father in the home, he is almost always the catalyst to starting that conversation. On the flip side, black mothers also voice their disapproval when their black sons date white women or white girls. But black fathers will never, ever discourage their sons from dating white girls. I think we all know that. And there's no real reason to get into that. But as far as each parent's contribution to this particular argument, you will never, as far as I know, I have never known of a black father to tell his black son, hey, don't be dating white girls. Nah, he'll tell him, you know what? Fuck as many white girls as you can. There are no two ways about it. So let's explore this from both sides. And we'll start with the white fathers. I'm seeing a woman now, who, she's a white girl, and we had a conversation. It's funny. She always says, "Oh, my parents would love you, and my father would have no problem with the fact that I'm black." And I think to myself, well, of course he does. Of course he doesn't have a problem with it now. She's past the wall, and she's not as valuable as she used to be physically. And she's a grown-ass woman, okay? The older white females get, the less of a shit their fathers give about who they date, regardless of race. However, young teenaged white girls always catch heat from their fathers when there is a father in the home. The reason for this is because she's much more valuable and she's entering into her prime fertile years. Now, here are the reasons that white fathers raise absolute hell when their white daughters date black boys. Number one, it's reputation. White fathers are petrified that their daughters will parade around the neighborhood or put all sorts of pictures on Facebook, taking pictures of her and her black boyfriend. It's as though it's a stain or a mark on his reputation as a father. He might think that people might be thinking, well, how could you let your daughter do this to you? And listen, let's not kid ourselves. That's really happening. Number two, the white father knows that white guys will stay away. White fathers, they have a very good sense. They have a very good grip on the sexual marketplace. He knows that if his daughter is seen around town or gets a reputation as the white girl who only fucks with black dudes, he knows that she is radioactive to white men. He knows that white guys aren't going to want to date her or marry her. Number three, if she, God forbid, if she has a kid with one of her black boyfriends, her options for a husband are limited to only black men or very weak white men. And of course, number four, going back to number three, if she has a kid, he wants his grandchildren to look like him. And look, I mean, I can't say I blame him. I mean, if I were to ever have kids, I would want my grandchildren to look like me. That's just a biological hardwiring. But I will say this as a caveat. Just because white fathers don't want their daughters dating black dudes or dating a black dude, that doesn't necessarily make him a racist. Now, it could make him a racist, but this isn't the way to judge that one way or another. Like I said before, white fathers are keenly aware of the sexual marketplace, and he knows, again, that if his daughter has a reputation for dating black guys, the only way she'll be able to consolidate on a white male is for her to move out of town and delete all of her social media accounts, which to be honest with you, is what a lot of white girls do when they've hit the wall and they don't want anyone knowing that they rode the black cock carousel. I mentioned in episode 5, entitled, Why White Women Date Black Men, we've all heard the adage, once you go black, you don't go back. And I said, well, you know what? Sometimes it's once you go black, you can't go back. White fathers know that once his daughter goes black and people find out about it, it will be very hard for her to, quote, go back, if at all. Let's move on to black mothers. There is only one reason black mothers discourage their black sons from dating white women. She hates white girls. That's it. She can talk all she wants about how black women are better, or about how there's some sort of psychological flaw in dating white girls, or whatever she rationalizes to discourage her son from dating white girls. But she ain't thinking about him. She's thinking about herself. And the way black women feel about themselves and each other when their sons date white girls is all the same. And I'll get to that a little bit later. Unlike the white father, black mothers aren't afraid that black women will stay away from her son if black women knows he dates white girls. She's not thinking about him having a mixed kid or whether or not her grandchildren will look like her. Okay, the reason she discourages her sons from dating, the reason black mothers discourage their sons from dating white girls is because she hates white girls. She always had and always will. She always has and always will, and that's all there is to it. They can disagree with me all they want, but they know I'm right. So let's blend this together. But we'll go ahead and tackle this from both angles. The reason that white fathers and black mothers are so opposed to their daughters and sons dating outside of their race is because it's personal, all right? A white father is the biggest male influence in his daughter's life for obvious reasons. Same with black mothers. From birth, black boys are most influenced by their mothers because it's the female he spends the most time with. Choosing a mate who is seemingly the polar opposite of who they are as parents, that is, the white father and the black mother, it says to them that they weren't the best version of a white male or a black woman. And because of this, their children decided to look elsewhere, and this is why they take it personally. It's as though their children are saying to them, I'm dating this dude or that chick because they're nothing like you. Now, the children don't say this out loud, but their actions reflect what's going on subconsciously. But the white father and black mother know exactly why they've decided to date black boys and white girls. Matter of fact, my mom knew why I started dating white girls before I did. I had no idea why, but now 2 decades later, I finally understand why. Not that I was going to figure it out as a teenager, but now it's obvious. Now, look, maybe a white father's daughter is just attracted to black guys for no other reason but that they're her type. Same with black boys. Maybe they just like white girls better. Maybe they turn him on more. Maybe he just likes the way they look more. Just because a white girl dates black guys doesn't mean that she isn't attracted to white men too. And there are plenty of black dudes out there fucking white girls and black girls. But odds are their preference for the opposite, for dating the opposite race, that started at home, and the vast majority of the time, that is the case. So all you white fathers out there, or soon-to-be fathers, you want your daughters to stay away from black boys? You want your daughter to not be labeled as a, quote, mud shark, which we all know destroys her chances of locking down a quality white guy? You need to be a strong, masculine man. You need to be a good example of what a man should be, and she'll fall in line. She'll look for a man like you if you're a strong male. Let her see that you're in charge and that you're the man of the house. Because if you let your white daughters see your wife boss you around, make all the decisions, if she sees you tolerating disrespect, well, when your daughters get to dating age, they're not going to choose men who look or act like you. Women of all ages need masculinity and discipline from a strong male who is unafraid to show both his dominance and his strength. All right? If she doesn't see those traits in you as a father, she'll start dating men that she perceives as having these qualities. I'd love to tell you not to take it personally if your daughters start dating black guys, but that's just not true. You should take it personally because somewhere along the way, you stopped acting like a man, and you know it. Your daughter saw it and decided that she wasn't going to be with a man like you. The only females who date men like their fathers, and this is black women and white women, are females who are raised by strong fathers. There are few exceptions to this rule. So again, white fathers, if you want your daughters to date inside the race, or if you want her to stay away from black dudes, you need to be a fucking man and show her what a real strong masculine man is like. If you show her that and show her that that can be attractive, then the odds are very, very long that she'll choose to start dating black men. Now, as far as black women are concerned, you want your sons to stay away from white girls? You want your son to marry a quality black woman? Here's what you need. Here's what you guys need to do. Okay, fuck it. Who am I kidding? Even if I did have advice for you guys, you'd probably yell and scream, tell me I was wrong, and then turn around and wonder why your sons date white girls. So I'm not gonna waste my breath. Y'all are on your own because God knows you bitches have all the answers to everything. So far be it for me to advise a group of women who know it all. That does it for this episode of The Sharp Reality. Remember to bookmark that Amazon link in the sidebar of my homepage, thesharpreality.com. Hit me on Twitter anytime @Donovan_Sharp and drop me a line anytime in the contact tab of my website. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time.